What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You guys, that was the worst snap ever, right? Welcome back to the channel, you guys. This is The Walking Dead Season 8. This is the season finale for Season 8, and it is called Wrath. It really should have been called False Nobility, but okay, how you gonna have an episode called Wrath and there's absolutely no wrath in it? Like, it was as wrathless as it can get, you know what I mean? Like, this was a walk in the park. And honestly, Walking Dead has gotten so lame. Like, we need to take it out back and put it down. Like, it's blind, it's toothless, it's not eating anymore, it can barely stand, it can't control its bowels. Like, it needs to be taken out back. That's all I gotta say about The Walking Dead. Okay, now let's talk about this season finale episode. Some people bought tickets to see it in the movie theater. I don't know, I just felt like in my spirit, even though it wasn't going to have commercials, and I think that's really, really great in the movie theater, I just didn't feel like this would be something I would pay for, just because the season 8 hasn't been that great. And I'm glad I followed my first mind, because it wasn't great. Okay, so we're in two separate places here when we open up. Negan is at his camp. He's getting ready to roll out. He's got Dwight tied up and shackled up. He's going to take him with him over to Rick to fight. For whatever reason, I don't know. This is how we know that Dwight is going to live, because if he didn't kill him, Dale, like he killed Simon, then obviously we're going to see Dwight again. Okay, it's like ABC at this point. And he also loads Gabriel up and brings Gabriel as well. Why? I don't know, because Gabriel is blind, but all I can think is that he really wants to rub the fact that he knows about Dwight, and he's got Gabriel, which is, you know, somehow he ended up being a valuable member of Rick's group, and he wants to rub that in Rick's face. This is salt for the wound, basically. He's also gotten a couple of groups together, split them up. They've all got a plan of what they're supposed to do. After he has sent, you know, the wrong information over to Rick, he's pretty confident that he's got this thing sewn up. Like, it's all very, very neat. And all along the way, Negan is telling us the plan. He's telling us how this plan is going to go. And basically, he's giving us the story without them acting it out. Like, they are so over explaining what's going on that at this point, I feel like Walking Dead is trying to call me stupid, and I'm not really sure why they would do that, considering you guys have not been complex in like 3 or 4 seasons. So yeah, basically everything that you guys have got going on right now is ABC, and I'm just not feeling it. But I'm not gonna, let's move forward. He's got a group of people that he's gonna send to stand at one post. They play a pivotal role because they are really essentially bait. He's sending them off to be killed, because while Rick is killing these people off, this small group of people off, Negan and the rest of his group are going to go and hide out to ambush Rick when they are on their way to where they think they can kill Negan. Okay, it's all a setup. On the way there, Gabriel is in the back seat with Eugene. Eugene has had a long conversation about the bullets. The bullets are great. The bullets are awesome. I got the order in on time. I'm very proud of them. They're the highest quality. Like, all of this conversation is leading us to believe that something's going on with the bullets. Like, it's like, you know, no, don't look in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, none of us saw this coming. This is going to be a lovely surprise. Anywho, so They're riding along, and Negan is talking about how he is just going to rip Rick to shreds. He's gonna smash him good. It's gonna be the greatest coup ever. He's gonna kill him up real nice, And Gabriel panics. Obviously forgets this. He's blind AF. Okay, he's blind AF. Okay, and jumps out of a moving car. No, I've got to warn them, but you can't see shit, Gabriel. 1 and 2. Where you going? You know where you going? Can you figure it out? Because up until this point, you have always been led. You have never ever been a leader. Like, which way is up? Like, north, south, east, or west? Where you going? Anyway, they basically skip and catch up with him. I'm saying stroll because he blind as a bat. Plus, we got a haunted house walker that just comes out of nowhere, and he's wrestling with him, and Eugene comes and does this intimidation thing. I mean, Gabriel's one of the few people that Eugene feels secure enough to intimidate, and Negan stops him from killing Gabriel. They load Gabriel back up into the car after Negan mollywops him a couple of times, and they're back off on the adventure. Meanwhile, at Rick's camp, they are, of course, still burying Carl. Like, we have been burying Carl for like 3 episodes now. Like, oh my gosh, everything that Carl wants is people are trying to articulate it, verbally. They're trying to articulate it physically. Like, Rick is really, really sold out on bringing Carl's wishes to fruition. Now, we don't know how much until the end, but to boot, okay, so we've got Gabriel's act of nobility. Even though he blind as a doggone bat and don't know which way is up, this is an act of nobility, him jumping out of the car. And we see Sadiq give Carl sort of an act of nobility, giving his story of how he got bit, because Rick asked him, sort of giving Carl's hard-headedness and stupidity, a noble spin by saying he was helping me to free the soul, honor my mother by freeing the souls of the walkers, which is how he got bit. I was just like, I would have fought you over that story. But Rick was like, oh, okay. I guess because he put a noble spin, and Rick really needed to hear that Carl was doing something noble instead of the fact that Carl was out there being hard-headed as hell, and that's how he got bit. But you know what I'm saying? This is how we mourn. This is how we get over our grief. All right? So, they are off. They are going to go according to this map that Dwight has sent over, this faux map, this false map, this trap that Dwight has sent over unbeknownst to Dwight. And it's like 11 of them. And I'm only saying 11 because we count Morgan's split personality as 2. But it's only like 11 of them because they make the saviors, the one that have decided to side with Maggie and those, they make them stay. Gregory ain't fighting. He locked in the house because he literally living in jellyback. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's more trouble than he worth. Then you got the women and the children, the old people. Tara's gonna stay behind with them. So they're staying there at the hilltop. And it's like 10 or 15 of them going to war, basically, with Negan's 80 to 100 people at least. So Rick gets to the first part of the trap. Rick and Michonne and those, they get to the first part of the trap. These are the people that Negan has sent over there just as fodder to be killed. And they kill them. Dead. Talk over the bodies. Have a little bit of conversation. Head on off to the rest of the adventure. As they cross this beautiful, beautiful field, they look down into sort of a valleyway. We don't see what they're looking at, but we hear a reference about, you ever seen one that large? And we don't know what it is. We don't see what it is until the end. And this was one of the only glimpses of The Walking Dead that I love. The Walking Dead that I love had suspense. It had thrills. Like, you had no idea what was coming. It wasn't this sort of spoon-fed storyline. You know what I mean? It wasn't this predictable bull crap, this predictable balderdash, that they're giving us in season 8, like with no Mickey Fricky Okay, I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Let's move forward. So Rick and those get to a certain place when they're in this beautiful field and they hear the whistling. Now, I'm not sure why they hear the whistling, but obviously there's some walkie-talkies set up with an acoustic system, and Negan, who's waxing poetic about the fact that he is everywhere, all over. He is all seeing eye. This is supposed to intimidate Rick and Nose, and come to find out, he's got a whole slew of engines. I say engines because the way they did it was kind of like we see cowboy and Indians when you see the cowboys riding like in the desert. Not in the desert, but you know what I'm saying, like on a dusty plain. And then you see a whole row of Indians at the top of the mountain looking down on them. And it looks like, oh my gosh, it must be 500 savages. And these poor few little cowboys, So it's quite intimidating, but yeah. I mean, like I said, it's very, very few of them. Now, meanwhile, we have another act of nobility, White Jesus, who we have not seen in a minute. I mean, he's been gone most of the second half of season 8 looking for food in the forest. Now, he comes back briefly. I think this is the second episode we've seen him in the second half of this season 8. And he is able to just come in with his White Jesus-like manner and say a few words to Morgan that breaks his mental psychosis. Yet another act of nobility that has absolutely positively no validity to it whatsoever. If anybody can bring Morgan back from the brink of mental destruction, it will be Carol. Why? Because Carol went through the same exact doggone thing. But why give Carol the lines when we could give it to White Jesus? Where you been, White Jesus? Where you been? Huh? Where you been? Whatever. Anyway, so we see the saviors, and Negan's got Gabriel there, and he's also got Dwight there, and he's gonna kill him up in front of Rick and the group, but not before he gives us another speech. Another speech, Negan. Really? They get to this point where they chicky, and talky, and they decide they're gonna fight and bring the guns and it's aim, ready, aim, and they go to fire, and the guns backfire on the saviors and kill them dead, except for Negan. Now, Negan just hit the gun he was going to kill Gabriel with, just explodes in his hands, and it tears his hand up. Like, he runs off. Guess who goes after him? Can anyone guess who goes after him? That's right, boys and girls. Rick. Yeah, okay. Rick is going after him. Everybody else is fighting. They're shocked. They're surprised. They really thought that there was going to be this bloody battle, and it turns out it was over like that. Thanks to Eugene, or that's how Eugene is painting it. Again, another exercise in nobility. You think that you're going to redeem your lily-livered, yellow-bellied, cowardice ways that you've had for the last couple of seasons or so. Really, since you got on this show. Like, I ain't never really liked you since you tricked Abraham and those into keeping you safe. And you knew you was a damn liar. But I digress. He tries to make it seem like he had this grand plan all along. First of all, that was Gabriel's plan. Gabriel gave you the idea, and you taking it on as your own. But okay, Eugene, whatever. I will never like Eugene. Never. Okay. So meanwhile, back at the hilltop, they've got a group there of saviors that's attacking the hilltop, trying to get in, and Tara and the guy the ex-savior who's sweet on Maggie, They decide that they're going to get all of the people, the women and children, down into safety, the old people. They're going to go back and try to lead off the saviors or the walkers or whatever to keep the people there safe. And he goes to help. But guess who shows up to really, really help them in their time of need? Just as it was about to go bad, same thing that happened with Rick, except it's the beach people. Okay, the beach people are there, and they're throwing Molotov cocktails, and they are raining down havoc all over the saviors that are attacking the hilltop. Now, when I say raining down havoc, I use that term loosely because it was like a little small ground skirmish. Like, it wasn't impressive at all, but we're glad to have them, and we don't really need a whole lot of conversation and engagement. Like, it was kind of spliced and edited in there. I was just like, whatever. So flashback to Rick. He and Negan are fighting. Negan, of course, is getting the best of Rick. He's the only person I know that can fight and also give us a soliloquy. You know what I'm saying? Diatribe after diatribe. And there is this moment that Rick is down, and he's down for the count, and he just lets Negan know it doesn't have to be this way. And he stands up and he's talking to Negan, and Negan is listening. And Rick just pulls out a knife and just slices his throat. And at the moment, it looks like it's horrific. Like, oh yeah, he's dead. He's down for the count. But he really isn't, because apparently Rick knew just how much to cut. Like, he just gave him a little swipe. It was bleeding more than anything. And he tells the doctors to save him, to patch him up. And Maggie loses it. She loses it because she wants some redemption for Glenn. Okay? And listen, we haven't heard a lot from Maggie at all. Maggie has much like her baby bump, she has hid a lot of her anger towards the saviors, and now we get to see it just come all out. Like, Morgan's not the only one that kind of lost it. Like, Maggie is losing it too. And in that moment, I really did feel for Maggie, because that's all we've wanted. We've wanted some redemption. And for Rick to take this turn, I just personally felt like it was a noble act, but it really was an exercise in futility. It meant nothing. It had no value to it whatsoever. And I'll tell you why. Because you didn't think twice about killing those people that Negan sent over there as bait. You shot and killed them, no problem. Now, those people have been brainwashed and indoctrinated and so made so fearful that they have followed Negan 110%. So why would you take out the people who were weak and brainwashed or in a bad situation and indoctrinated, but you don't take out the leader, the psychotic leader that indoctrinated them, that brainwashed them? It's redundant. Like, it's just an exercise in futility. Like, it's a false act of nobility. In essence, you just trying to honor your son by doing his wishes and not killing Negan. And that long around and around the mulberry bush speech that you and Michonne gave Negan in the end about how you gonna let him live so he can see, and that's ultimately a punishment. Like, whatever, Walking Dead, whatever. Like, I'm not even trying to hear it. And that conversation that Morgan had in the end with Jadis, where Jadis can go back to the hilltop and become one with them, and you can go back and that's fine. And she's like, really? I can go back? I'm like, okay, you can talk normal now. Like, y'all trying to wrap it up in a neat little bow. It was just y'all tell me what y'all think. This season finale, season 8 finale of Walking Dead was trash. It was trash. It was trash, and you guys are trying to pee over my head and make me think it's raining. Like, this Simple Simon storyline, I'm not feeling it. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all put it down below. Garbage. Negan is still alive, thanks to Rick. Morgan is still crazy. That's all I have for you guys. Let me know. Put it down below. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, honeybees. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll holla.